Welcome back, everyone. And today we have with us Stylianos Lambrou, who is a very well-known entrepreneur here in Limassol. He's a young gentleman and quite connected with the tech side of things. He is the founder of Tech Island, which many of you guys may know because it has shot, I think, into the limelight recently, being the first organization that managed to create and present the first ever presidential debate in English on the island. So really very forward thinking and so many other things. I met Stylianos years ago when we were collaborating together with Heart Cyprus. And I'm going to let him tell you in his own words more about his own life.
Yes.
So
hello,
welcome.
Farah. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you
so
for
yeah,
coming.
maybe like in brief, I'm an entrepreneur. I started my entrepreneurial journey at a very young age, at the age of 18.
Wow.
I have been very entrepreneurial from 12 years old. So
what happened at 12? Tell us
12,
what happened
actually,
at 12.
I was building a website where I was aggregating the sports news of Cyprus. So I was getting the newspapers and I was copying the articles and I was publishing them online. This was like 20 years ago, so there wasn't like any online sports media back then. And at the age of 18, I started, while I was in the army, I started my first project, which eventually became a company. It was a project to promote the villages of Cyprus. So it was virtual tours. It was a platform that you could virtually walk through the villages of Cyprus. And it was a great experience. I traveled to over 200 villages. And then that project became Heart Cyprus, which we were promoting Cyprus globally. Heart Cyprus is a destination brand for Cyprus. And we're the first, I think, businesses that we embraced social media back then, around 10, 12 years ago. And I remember I was going to different businesses, including hotels, trying to persuade them to use Facebook, Instagram, etc. So this is how it started. And
but what was your driving force behind creating Heart Cyprus? Because obviously, okay, so your passion and one of your many skill sets is technology, which not everybody has. But then, and you love Cyprus and you're from Cyprus, but many people have those too. So what was it that you then, how did you realize there was this gap? How did you then decide, okay, this is what I want to do? Because a few years ago, I mean, when Heart Cyprus really came out, it was huge. I remember you were the first to get like 10,000, followers on Instagram. And it was a massive thing. So how did that come about?
Motivation is intrinsic. From very young age, like I love Cyprus. I believe in the potential of Cyprus. And this is why the things I'm doing now and are actively involved I'm trying to help Cyprus. And when I went to study like in London, the first thing I did when I graduated, I came back at a time that Cyprus was in crisis, was just after the bank haircut. The reason is because I really love Cyprus. I wanted to contribute to the island. And all of my activities, I think, are contributing to the growth of Cyprus and also of my city here. So, I think the main motivation was intrinsic rather than extrinsic. So,
So tell us a little bit about Heart Cyprus then, because we'll go on to all your other entrepreneurial endeavors. So Heart Cyprus, you started... And I remember you were working with Annan and your sister came in. And so tell us a little bit about that. How did it come about?
So we started just with a Facebook page. Like Facebook back then was completely different than the algorithm and everything compared to today. And we grew a page organically. We started with 50,000, 100,000. And then we exceeded over 200,000 people.
And now it's over 200?
It's around, totally we have around 350,000 on all social media, mainly Instagram and Facebook. Currently it's not a business, we just aggregate content and we share them on our pages. But the biggest success, I believe, for Heart Cyprus was that during the crisis of 2013, we launched some campaigns and we raised funds that we supported families in need back then. We supported athletes. So mostly it was an impact project for us rather than a business. And on the side, we had a media company where we were consulting and doing social media management, content creation, to local business 10 years ago when social media wasn't that, let's say,
Yeah,
popular.
and we worked together. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm proud to say I think we were one of the first
Yes, that
hotels.
believed, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and well, we were
Yeah.
one of the first that I think really, and I don't say that in an arrogant way, but that went out and had a what do we call him? An internet sales executive. I
Yeah,
think the first
yeah.
one we had, and then we went into e-commerce, and we
Yes.
really
Actually, you
grown
were
that
the first
department.
customers of our like
Yeah,
hotels. Yeah, so
and even within that, we still recognized we needed additional support.
yeah.
And because I remember before we had you guys, I was doing all of our social media, and I'm
Yeah.
no way techie minded. But people were like, "Wow, what are you doing?" And then yeah, it went on from there, and anything from newsletters to Facebook to Instagram. Yeah, it's quite a journey. So yeah, we really appreciated your support as well and your ideas, which were great. So then Heart Cyprus, how did you then move on from that?
Yeah, so while I
You were in
was
real estate as well and Tech
yes,
Island.
so I
Yeah.
went to London for 3 years. I studied IT at UCL, and I have to admit I was more an entrepreneur than a student. I was a part-time student, so I was trying my first ventures in technology. I started a company that was connecting passengers on flights and at the airports. We raised also some money, but eventually the company failed. But it was a great university for me. Uh,
That is an expression, isn't it?
yeah.
I want to succeed.
Yeah.
And the answer is at
yes, I
first
mean,
you have
it's
to fail.
quite of cliche, but I mean, if you don't fail, you don't learn. I think the
Absolutely.
best lessons I got in my life was from the failures, and I believe I'm failing every day and learning every day. So yes, I started this company. Then it failed. I got a bit disappointed. So I went and did a postgraduate degree. I went to Cambridge. It was completely different than London life. And I studied entrepreneurship. I don't believe you can study entrepreneurship, but I met quite interesting people, and some of them were really good friends and partners.
That was a master's.
Yeah, it was a postgraduate degree. It was an executive
Okay.
degree. It was 1 year, but it was a postgraduate diploma because it didn't have research. So yeah,
Interesting.
so it was
Okay.
quite interesting one. So I lived there for a year, and then I came back. And since 2015, I'm in Cyprus, and I'm very grateful I came back because there were like tremendous opportunities back then. Most of my friends who graduated from the university that I studied, they got jobs at Facebook, Google, Oracle, etc. But even though I had this opportunity, I decided to come back because I wanted to contribute to Cyprus, and everyone was thinking I was crazy back then. So I was having this media company. And whatever money I was making from this business, I was investing in real estate. Actually, I started from Greece. I went to Greece in 2015, and I got my first apartment there. And then I started investing in different properties in the old city of Limassol. I had also some exits along the way. And currently, in my holding company, we have 17 properties. 15 of them are in Limassol, in the old city of Limassol. Mainly, they're listed buildings that we are renovating them, converting them into boutique hotels, but also other brownfield projects, meaning that we build them from scratch. And also in Greece, we have 2 listed buildings that eventually we want to convert them as well to boutique hotels, and we created this brand called Heart Hotels. But they are quite small ones. It's from like 12 rooms to 30 rooms. So this is the size of the
Beautiful.
hotels, and I call what we're doing meaningful real estate because personally I don't like development, just building and selling. I like to build projects that create positive externalities for the areas, for the cities, and I'm quite excited what we're doing in Limassol, in the old city of
Job
Limassol.
opportunities
Yes.
and real experiences. That's what we spoke about with
And making our
Mr. Verdios.
city more beautiful, you know, especially the city center, which there are a lot of isolated listed buildings, and yeah, and I believe also the government should introduce more incentives or penalize the owners who are not doing anything with their, you know, like historic buildings. So yeah, that's and again, it's an intrinsic motivation. It's not only about the financial return, of course, that's important, but this project also this project I have for the old city is also we're doing it to contribute to Cyprus.
I love it. So you're a hotelier as well.
Yeah, in the process. I'm
Yeah.
learning now, and I understand how difficult it is, especially when you manage 200 plus rooms. Yeah.
Crazy, but it's fun. It's
Yeah.
really, it's a great, it's a great industry. So, and so tell us about Tech Island.
Yes. So Tech Island, actually, I will tell you first about the Reflect Festival
Oh,
because
yes.
it transitioned into also Tech Island. So Reflect Festival, I started with my good friend Dusan Dufek. He's from Slovakia, and we met at Cambridge 7-8 years ago. And actually, the first event, the first Reflect, happened in at Saint Raphael.
Yay.
It was a very small event with 300 attendees. And 5 years later, we were the largest tech festival. We're becoming the largest tech festival in the region. So last year we had over 5,000 attendees, which around 1,000 of them came from abroad. I don't know if you attended last year, but if not, this year you should definitely attend.
I go like, oh, because I think it's tech. My brain immediately goes to static. Like,
actually, it's more of a festival. So we include topics like beyond tech, like mental health, like companies'
You're so
culture.
sweet. Every year you invite me, and I always say I'm coming, and then it's that typical thing because it's on our doorstep. That you think, oh yeah. But okay, I promise. I say this. I'm accountable now on air. I am coming.
Yes,
I'm coming this year.
Great. And we also can bring some of the speakers. We have really cool speakers coming year after year.
Yeah, they must stay here.
Yes, exactly.
That's
and you can interview them as well.
Absolutely,
yes.
We'll do
so and Reflect Festival, we started as like small project and grew to what it is. And again, our main motivation was intrinsic for Cyprus because we wanted to highlight the tech sector in Cyprus. And I believe personally, Cyprus, it is a tech hub, but at its early stage. And it has really good momentum to grow and become one of the best tech hubs in the region. And so we had it like for 5 years. The first year, 300 people. The second year, 2,000 people. The third year, 3,500 people. The fourth year was COVID, so we did a hybrid event. And on the fifth year, we had over 5,000 people. During the year of COVID, we had also more time to think back then. So we wanted to create a non-profit organization. And I started it, me, Dusan, a friend, Angelos Grigoriadis, Alexei Gubarev, who's also Limassolian. And we brought also more entrepreneurs from the ecosystem, including the founder of Exness, Peter, of Nexters, Andrei, etc. So currently the organization, maybe before going to that, I'll tell you how we came up with the name. It's called Tech Island because Cyprus literally is an island, and it combines two things. One is the upcoming technology hub, but at the same time it offers this island life that, in my opinion, you can't find it anywhere else. London is a tech hub, but you don't have what we have here. Silicon Valley, of course, is the best tech hub. But Cyprus, I think, offers different things as well. It offers safety, really good, like lifestyle, in my opinion, and also quite has close proximity to Middle East, which I think is one of the upcoming technology, hubs. And so we came up with this organization. It's a non-profit. On our board, we have 15 founders and CEOs of the biggest technology companies on the island. And we have been collaborating with the government the past 2 years. We introduced few incentives to help the tech sector to accelerate in Cyprus. But at the same time, we have done a lot of impact projects. In total, we have donated over 4 million euro in different initiatives, mainly funded from the tech companies on the island. And as you have said previously, we also hosted this presidential debate. It was the first in English. It happened also it was at Park Lane.
Yeah, but again, a hotel. Yes. So it's just an example of how hotels are connected.
Hotels connect.
Everyone. Yeah.
Exactly, and we're doing multiple of events, and we have constant communication with the government. We're looking forward to see who will be the next president as well.
I know.
So we want to collaborate.
Well, by the time this episode is out, we'll know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So. Yes, and our main vision is to make Cyprus the tech island of Europe and eventually be recognized globally as a place where there is substance. We have really successful companies here with 1,000 people, with 500 people. It's not just the PO box. We have real substance. And I think also with the geopolitical situation, Cyprus is becoming very attractive for the world. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to like rewind now because it's very clear that you've
Yeah.
got a passion for Cyprus, which I share. And I
Yeah.
think many of us do, especially many guests on this podcast. And you're also very driven and very energetic. So all the perfect ingredients for an entrepreneur. But where does that come from?
Yeah. Actually,
Tell us a bit about you, about your family.
This is a tricky question, but I think I'm not sure if there's an entrepreneurial gene, but my both parents are entrepreneurs, so from a very young age, I have lived with entrepreneurs, and
What do they do?
yeah. So my mother, she has a company she's organizing. It's an educational company. She organizes seminars, but for adults, she works with European Union funds, and she trains different, like, let's say, employees of companies, of the government, etc. And my father has a technology company. For the past 30 years, he has been building software for the municipalities of Cyprus, and now is in the consortium of building the e-government of the municipalities, finally. So everything will be on the cloud. So I think from very young age, I understood the struggle of being an entrepreneur. And from day one when I started, I knew that in order to create success, you need at least 10 years. So, there's a lot of, illusions these days that you can build a company and, in 6 months you can start making money. But in order to build a sustainable, like a successful company, you need to think long term. And I want to see in Cyprus more people who are thinking long term instead of trying to achieve short term gains. And yes, and maybe we can, share here that the entrepreneurial journey, and also, it's quite hard. It's not an easy path, but I wouldn't change it with nothing else because I really enjoyed it, and I'm improving a lot, like every day.
And just learning and growing. I do think that's a mistake that some people sometimes think is that, you hear the 1 in 1 million stories of somebody, creating a company and within overnight or a week or a month they become, millionaires. But the reality is for most people, and even if those people have, they've spent years prepping for that. Their whole life has been a prep for that. So I think, that sometimes is missed.
It's like, you're bleeding, like year after year until you make it big one day.
But you keep going for that, and that's the point. Yeah, it's determination and consistency.
And I think there's a quite difference from being an entrepreneur and a businessman. Like businessman or woman is someone who's doing something like a business with a known business model without having big impact. And I think entrepreneurs are the ones who do things slightly like different, are more innovative, but at the same time they give back. And maybe here I would like to share with you how we came up with the name Heart, because my holding company is Heart Group. Okay, we had the Heart Cyprus brand, but then we wanted to keep the name Heart, and we called it Heart Group. Because also in our logo we have you can identify 3 H, and the first H stands for the head, which basically is the logic, is the strategy, is our knowledge. The second one is the heart, that we take a lot of decisions also in our group with our intuition. Like I think also symbolizes the passion and being heart-centered. Because if you don't do that, if you don't love what you do, I don't think you'll succeed. And the third one is the hands, because you can shape things, but at the same time you can give back. So that's also how we came up with
you can create, you can receive.
Yes, exactly, and give back. So yeah,
that's lovely. I love it. The 3 H's. So where do you see technology going, and how do you think it can help businesses and hotels? And
yes, I think technology is the future, and it's the most is the sector that is most sustainable also for Cyprus, for the growth of Cyprus, because it doesn't limit to anything. For example, even in the tourism, we have specific supply of units. Eventually, if we build more, we have more, but the demand is increasing, so it's not that scalable, right? Or with our exports, I don't think we have any exports, but let's say to export halloumi is quite, like limited, or like olive oil, etc. But with technology, it's very scalable. You can serve hundreds of millions of people from Cyprus. So it's extending also our borders. The market is not just 3-4 countries in Europe. It's not just the local market. With technology, we can expand, the market share. And I believe in the next 10 years, we're going to see companies in Cyprus that will going to serve, like millions of people outside of Cyprus. And so, I think like we should focus on technology, and all the companies, all the local businesses, they should embrace technology. And I guess you've seen what's happening with ChatGPT and all these technologies, AI, etc. A lot of people are scared of them, but I believe we should embrace AI because the competition is not us versus AI, but is us with AI versus someone with not using AI, right? So I think we should be open about technology. We shouldn't be scared. We should embrace it, and I think can make our businesses more scalable, meaning that you can keep also the costs fixed and increase the revenues, and not just So
and therefore your variable
yes,
profits.
and we need to leverage on technology, I was listening to a very interesting podcast by Naval. I don't know, he's the founder of AngelList, and he was saying that the most rich person in the world right now has the same service, the same Spotify service, or the same Google search as we do, or with $5 we can have like Netflix So I think technology is also distributing the wealth. With $10 you can order like food from and delivery service. And 50 years ago, our grandparents, they were eating meat like once every month. So you can have food from chef delivered to your doorstep.
It's accessible and it's fair.
Accessible. Yeah, exactly. I think technology is really distributing the wealth. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get more specific then and talk about social media.
Yeah.
Obviously we all know that TikTok's out. There's so many different forms of social media constantly emerging.
Yeah.
Which is your favorite? Not maybe because it's the one of the moment, but over the years, which is your favorite and why?
I think the most useful is LinkedIn because you can connect with people, you can talk business. But I think I'm more active on Instagram. I think Instagram creates this fake world, but at the same time, one of the useful things I think of Instagram is that you're updating your friends. Sometimes I meet with 5-6 friends, and they already know what I'm up to because I'm sharing stories, etc. And we're focusing on more meaningful conversations where we meet in person. And at the same time, I think it's a great way to log your life. Sometimes I'm going back to my archives and I see things, and
like an online diary.
This is the useful thing. Some people are misusing Instagram, but I think all of the people should build their personal brand, because I think we do business with people, not just with companies. So I think this is the power of social media. Yes, Facebook. I'm not that active on Facebook, to be honest. So my favorite is Instagram. TikTok, I tried a few times. But I'm not that active, and I'm using also Twitter to see what's going on, but I'm not tweeting a lot.
Interesting.
What about you? What's your favorite?
Okay. I think I try and use at least the platforms I'm on quite equally, and I just judge them differently. So it's I think of it like different events. So I'm me, but if I, now that I'm doing an episode of a podcast with you, and I'm dressed and I'm presenting myself in this way. If I go to the pub with some friends, I'm going to be in a different mood and wearing different clothes. And if I'm going to a conference, I'm going to speak, I'm going to be different. So it's the same thing with social media. If I'm on my Cook Vegan platform, I'm going to probably be, without makeup or a bit messy and with my kids.
You're vegan, right?
Huh?
You're vegan.
Yeah.
I take back what I said about the meat.
I know. I was like, I was ready to comment on that, but I was like, I don't know if having meat accessible to everyone is a good thing. But yes, Yeah,
Yes.
just to finish. So it's different. And the same thing in LinkedIn. Obviously, it's a more professional image. So I use it like that. Yeah, LinkedIn is very, very useful indeed. But I'd say probably my favorite is Instagram. But I do think the communities on Facebook are useful. So my group is really good. But yeah, the algorithms change. And unfortunately, like for me, I got too big as a group on Facebook, and I didn't change to public. No, to a public group. I left it private, so the algorithm has destroyed me. But which
Also
is
YouTube,
why I'm going.
Also YouTube, I think is quite interesting. I'm using a lot of YouTube on my TV screen.
Well,
And
everyone will be watching this on YouTube. So
yeah. So lately, I mean, for the past 1 year, okay, like I'm not watching TV for the past like few years. But the past 1 year, I'm watching a lot of podcasts and a lot of news, like from YouTube, directly from my TV screen. So it's great work you're doing as well. So
yeah, thank you so much. Thanks. I need to get you to watch more of my vegan stuff now. I'm going to send you links.
Yeah, I'm open to explore the vegan movement. Yeah.
Oh, it's great. Okay, so tell us a little bit again, going back to the presidential debate, because that really was so unique. I love that it was in Park Lane and in a hotel, which was amazing. It was so interesting to have a debate in English for the first time. So where did that idea come from, and how did then you orchestrate that to become reality?
Came from our board, like of Tech Island board. We wanted to bring all the presidential candidates.
Presumably
the main ones.
has a lot of people from abroad working in the tech industry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The main presidential candidates, because we wanted to see what is their position for the tech sector. We're quite happy because all of them, they believe that technology sector is it is the most important sector for the economy. So they committed that they will help this sector to grow further. And this sector affects also the other sectors. I mean, the real estate sector, the Horeca sector. So it's the only one who, if it grows, all the other sectors will grow.
Will benefit,
the hospitality, etc.
Not the only. We also. Hotel industry also. But yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we wanted to find out what they're thinking about.
Yeah.
We're happy that they want to support this sector. But the government needs to do a lot of things in order to support the sector, starting from education. I think our education system, not just in Cyprus, but also globally, it's quite broken. So we need to change a lot of things, and starting from the young ages to promote them into tech engineers, entrepreneurs. And we're listening a lot that we need to educate people to become software engineers, etc. But we are not listening a lot. This is my personal opinion about making people to encourage them to become entrepreneurs. And I think we need more entrepreneurs in Cyprus, and we need to give the right to youngsters to fail, because we're living in a society that we're scared of failure. We're criticizing failure, and countries like the US, they're very open to failure, and they're encouraging people to fail earlier in their lives. I believe we need to change a lot in our culture as well, but it's not that difficult. We just need to start promoting these values.
And I think also to understand the value that younger people can bring to the table or a business, because I think in Cyprus we are slightly an ageist society. So while there's so much to be said for experience, the world is so rapidly changing that younger people, they might not have experience under their belt, but they have so many other things they can bring to the table. And we really have to encourage that. And as you said, look long term, not short term.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so you've done so many things for Cyprus, and you love Cyprus and you love Limassol. So if someone is listening and coming to Cyprus soon, whether they've been 100 times or they live here, or whether they're visiting for the first time, what would you say is the must? Like, where should they definitely visit? What should they definitely try?
Yes, maybe I'm a bit biased about this question.
That's okay. We love bias. It will all be Limassol.
I really love my city. I love Limassol. I mean, not just only for the nice hotels and restaurants, etc., but because it's a very dynamic city. You're here and you feel that the city is growing. Like every day I take my car and I do the seaside road and I see all this development. I listen to the construction sites. I feel something is happening, And I think that's why we attracted also a lot of Lebanese now, also Israelis, etc., because they want to be at a place with potential. I mean, London is, like it's already developed, etc., but here you can feel this progress, and I really like this vibe. For me, I also I'm describing Limassol as a coastal metropolis because it's becoming a coastal metropolis of Europe, because I don't know other city that has this long coast and all these buildings and all this, activities. Now with the casino, I believe will improve even further our will attract more people. I would say that this will push the economy even more. But specifically, I will tell them to come and stay at Saint Rafa
I
and try
didn't
the
pay
new
him.
restaurant.
Yes,
Yes.
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 Golden Monkey, huh? You
Yes,
like
yes,
it?
yes.
Oh, I'm really proud of Golden Monkey.
I love the
Here's
cocktails. Yeah.
from Thailand, all our
Yeah, yeah.
monkeys here.
And I guess you have a lot of vegan options.
Yes,
So
we do.
they're
In
vegan.
the whole hotel, 30% of all our menus are vegan.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's part of our
I'm wondering why.
sustainable. Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
also more sustainable. Yeah, it
Yes.
lowers our carbon footprint.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
and that's our
Actually,
main
it's a
mission.
very big thing now, like the ESG strategy, the environmental social governance,
Yeah.
where Europe is pushing to more sustainable processes. And
Yeah, it's really important for us. And we're the first hotel on the island with a
Yeah.
fully vegan restaurant.
Yes.
So,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Nice.
seashells. You must try it. It's delicious.
Okay, nice.
So you read a lot, you listen to a lot of podcasts. Actually, I haven't asked anybody this. What's your favorite podcast and why?
Yes.
And I do ask not everyone, but a lot of people what their favorite books are or their favorite quotes. So
Yes.
tell us that.
I don't have a favorite one. I'm listening to a lot of podcasts. I really like Impact Theory. I don't know if you know them, with Tom Bewley, because it's quite interesting, the topics. But I'm watching also a lot of videos. Like I really like a channel called Cold Fusion that they do like short documentaries, and it's quite educational. But I'm following specific people rather than podcasts.
Yeah.
Naval, I've always mispronounced his surname. Anyways, Naval is the founder of AngelList. I listen to him. I really like his ideas, and he really helped me to shape also like my mindset as well. So I'm listening to like multiple of podcasts. I don't have specific one that I like. I also listen to Cypriot podcast lately. I think it's also becoming a thing here in Cyprus the past
it's so exciting.
year.
And you were saying this is your first podcast that you've done in English.
Yes. I mean, as I'm not native in English, is not that easy as in Cypriot, not Greek. But yes, so and in books, I have been reading a lot of books in the past. Lately, I'm listening more because I think actually listening it's easier because you can multitask. Where you're reading, you just focus on reading. Or when you're listening to a podcast, you can send emails, and this can save a lot of time. So I'm taking this approach. I'm reading a book now. I'm in the middle of this book. It's called The Art of War. I don't know if you heard about it. It's a classic one.
Yeah. It's not a new one. It's
a classic one. My dear friend Paris gave it to me for my birthday, but now I had the chance to start reading it. It was it's quite interesting because I'm also following the elections, like of the presidential elections. And in this book, it says that always you need to choose a side. You should never be neutral. Either, even if you're with the loser, it's better than just being neutral. And I read different things and actually relate them with what's happening now with the elections. But yes, I'm always like to learn. And one of my biggest source of learning is not by the books or the podcast, but by talking to people, sharing their own experiences, because also you can ask specific questions and you're sharing different ideas. And I think this is really valuable. That's why I also want to spend my time with people that I can share and add value to them, and also they can add value to me. It's very cliche, but they say that you're the average of the 5 people you spend your time with. So I think also one of I don't like to give advice. I think no one should give advice because it's my own biases. But I think you should be very selective with the people you're spending your time with. And in the past, I was meeting with a lot of people, having coffee, but I decided to not do coffee all the time. You need to, be more selective, let's say. Yes, and this is in Cyprus. I think something we need to improve is also the way to learn better way to connect, also to network, because we also see it from our event that networking is about just connecting, and then you can follow up with an email, with a call, and you can meet and you can spend more time. But I see sometimes at our events that two people are talking for 5 hours, and I think this is something else we also need to
Yeah.
improve.
It also goes with character and
Yes,
personality,
exactly.
and if they have that courage to,
Yes.
Yeah.
But I see it many times, like at our events, and I think, I mean, this is not just in
Have to
Cyprus. I think
learn.
it's all over the world, but I think networking is a very important skill. Yeah.
Well, there's the expression, isn't there? Show me your friends and I'll tell
Show
you
you
who you are.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, very interesting. So, in closing,
Yeah.
what have you learned in your life
Yes.
so far? What has being entrepreneur and this love for Limassol and the drive that you have and all your accomplishments and your failures?
Yeah.
What's the biggest lesson life has taught you?
Yes. I believe you never stop learning. I think entrepreneurship is an infinite gameplay, and I believe there's no winners or losers, because we're living in a society that's very status driven. Also now you see with the elections. But I think with business, there's no winner or loser. Also the competition, it drives you to grow further. So I'm learning, all the time. I believe something really important that I learned is to be accountable. It's like a really, really important thing. And I think if you have high accountability, eventually you'll become more successful. And that's why someone is the CEO of Apple and someone is the CEO of a small company, right? It's accountability I think is the main, let's say, requirement that a leader needs. But at the same time, I believe, and also I'm trying to improve my judgment. Like year after year, I'm trying to improve my judgment, because I think the decisions you do or the things you say are the most important, the most powerful. So I think what my journey taught me is that the most important thing is accountability and also judgment, to have like good judgment and be an accountable person. And currently also we started a co-working space in Limassol, and also we're opening now in Athens, where we want to encourage young people to come there. Also we have some funding available that we invest in them and build technology products as part of our venture builder. So I'm very motivated to also support other entrepreneurs and learn from them and also learn from me. So yeah, I would say the biggest lessons you asked, I think, is accountability, is to have this high judgment, to be around, people that can either be like can push you, it can support you, you can learn from them, and not be scared about taking the road less traveled. Obviously, there are a lot of risks. It's not an easy road. We all know it, and don't expect short-term gains. I mean, that road you'll make it, but you'll make it in 10, 15, 20 years.
Perseverance,
Yes,
and
exactly.
courage.
Yeah. Oh,
Thank you so much. I love that.
Yes.
So from our crystal ball,
yes.
please pick. We're running out
Oh my
of
God.
questions slowly. I'll
Yes.
have to get more. So pick any question you
Alright,
like.
I'll get this one.
Yeah. Okay. So team effort. Someone at St. Raphael Resort has asked you. Oh my goodness. So, and this is in Greek now.
Yeah.
Okay. How important is customer service to you? So basically, yeah.
I think it's really important and goes back to the accountability, because there's a lot of cases that if the customer service is bad, you tell, let's say, the waitress, like what's your complaint is, and always they will say, I will tell it to the manager. It's always that.
Yeah,
thing,
someone
right?
else.
Someone else. It's not accountable. Where also I think the owners of restaurants, hotels, they should move this accountability from them to their employees
and empower them.
Because let's say if something happened wrong, like the waitress can come back to you, give you an extra drink, or like make a discount, whatever. I hate when I go to restaurants or to like a retail shop and the first thing, okay, I'm gonna inform the manager. So this means lack of accountability, not just like accountability of the person, but of the company. So
Yeah.
I would say
company
that
culture
I think
is
the
wrong.
owner should empower accountability and also reward accountability. The more accountability, that's why someone is the manager of the restaurant, someone is the waiter of the restaurant, right? So it's increasing the accountability, and I think in all the companies they need to highlight that to push people to become more accountable and reward them for that accountability.
And to feel pride in their job and
Yes.
to know that they're considered so important that they're able to make decisions. And if they make the wrong one, let's say, I'm really sorry, and they knock it off the bill, and that was the wrong move,
Yes.
it doesn't matter. They've still solved that
Yeah.
problem, and then they'll
Yes,
learn for the next
exactly.
time. Yeah,
Yes.
I love that. Hara, thank you. That's from our
Yes.
spa. She asked that question. So, no, thank you so much. Is there
Yes,
anything you'd
thank you,
like to
Farah.
add?
Thank you. No, it was a great conversation.
Ah.
Good luck with the podcast. I'm
Thank
looking
you.
forward to watch all the upcoming.
Yeah, well, you're going to be
upcoming
one of the
podcasts. Yeah, I'll
first
be
that
one of
comes
the
out
fans.
on,
I will
on
subscribe.
video.
And
Yeah.
yes, and everyone should subscribe at the podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
Therefore,
Thanks,
thank you.
everyone. Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Thank
Thank you. Thanks.